Uh-oh, there's the popo. Y'all think popo's gonna mess with me? They do. Some hooligan on a dirt bike on the road. I bet they mess with me. Let's see, there's no stop sign. We'll just keep going. Check the mirror. They're not coming. They're talking. They didn't notice me. Alright, we'll turn here. Oh God, this is stupid. Can you see them out there? Probably not on that itty bitty camera, but there's buffalo right there. Let's see if I can get a picture to paste in later. I don't know if the picture will turn out that good either. See, get a zoom maybe. There. So, Ed's still not too happy with my choice of topics, so he gave me some suggestions. He says one thing that motovloggers do is do reviews of equipment. Whatever. But, here's some equipment. This is Ned's WR450F. This is the best dual sport you could possibly have. Let me tell you how we came about this. Ned had a WR250R, which is a factory street legal dual sport. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a pretty awesome dual sport. It is smooth off-road, it's capable off-road, it's very smooth on-road. And so that kind of led to this, because we're thinking, man, the one thing that we don't like about the 250R is it's a little anemic, especially up here at 7,000 feet. It's just not that strong. Other than that, it's awesome. So, kind of frustrated that Yamaha doesn't make a WR450R, so we said, why don't we just make one ourselves? So we got a WR450F and went on to make it street legal. So, there it is. And I don't know, it's got some surprises. Like, for example, first time we really went out on the road, we're like, man, this is not nearly as comfortable and smooth as the 250R. Well, that's all right. It's a trail bike. That's reasonable. And then we took it off-road. And off-road, I don't know. Like, if you're a good rider, if you got skills, you know, if you can do wheelies and doubles and things like that, I'm sure it's way better than the 250R. But me and Ned, we both kind of suck. So it's got power, but I don't know if it's got as much usable power as a 250R. In fact, it kind of scares you sometimes. A couple things that, you know, were kind of annoying about the 450F, even though it is the best dual sport you could possibly build, is one, well, they come from the factory with their throttle stuck. You can't go past halfway until you change the screw in the carburetor to the YZ screw. Then you can twist the throttle all the way. Of course, I had to rejet it for altitude, but that'd be the problem with anything we got. Well, take that back. I had that problem because it's carbureted. If it was fuel injected, like the 250R, rejet itself for altitude. And here comes another car looking at the buffalo. Alright, there's some people that just stopped to tell me about a Roger Miller song called, well, I don't know what it's called, but there's a line in there that says you can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. Guess I needed to know that. Anyways, where was I? I don't remember. So yeah, oh yeah, the 250R, it's fuel injected, so it just kind of changes its own jetting for altitude, and if you You need to get a little richer because you change the parts, and you just put an FMF programmer on it and you punch the right buttons and you can dial it in however you want. This thing, if you want to change the fuel mixture, it's got this stupid aluminum frame right in front of the carburetor right there. So the easiest way to get to it is to undo these bolts right here, take the seat off, flip the whole subframe over, pull the air box out, pull the shock out, and then pull the carburetor out and rejet it. It's kind of a pain to tune on. Other than that, it's a great dual sport, best dual sport you could possibly build. And like this compared to the 250R, it's not nearly as good on the street. If you're a good rider, it's good off-road, but if you're an average rider, it's just kind of a handful, not nearly as easy to work with as the 250R. As far as tuning, it's way more difficult than the 250R. And as far as maintenance, it's only got a liter of oil in it, so you got to change the oil every other ride. You're supposed to check the valves every 2,000 miles, whereas on the 250R, you got to do the valves like every 20,000 miles. So it's a lot more difficult to own than the 250R. You know what, Ned? I think this thing is stupid. This ain't the best dual sport at all. That 250R is. We just sell this piece of crap, get another one of those. Or if we want something different, maybe get a DRZ 400. I don't know. Anyways, man, I wish I wouldn't have made this video. I feel like really disappointed in this motorcycle now. Crap. Oh well, we'll go ride it. One good thing it does is you can twist that throttle. Of course, I had to tune it because, here, y'all don't know about this stupid carburetor up here, the FCR. I think it's the FCR 39. Basically, it's a proper carburetor, so whenever you twist the throttle here, it's like a little squirt gun. It squirts fuel into the motor to keep it from bogging. The way it comes from the factory, it's tuned for someone who's racing it. So if you're gonna be goosing it when you're going like 6,000 RPMs to jump up to 10,000 RPMs, it's tuned just right. If you ride it like a normal human being, it's not tuned that well at all. And it just bogs. If you're like at 2,000 RPM to twist it, it just bogs. So I had to take the spring that has a whole bunch of slack in it on the carburetor and change it to one that is made for mortals. And now this thing's tight, man. It'll get up and go, which is great if you're going in a straight line, which is not the kind of thing you really care to do on a motorcycle like this. So if you're in the woods going around trees, then it'll take off on you just the same, but in that situation, unless you're a good rider, it'll just scare the hell out of you. There we go. Oh, put this thing in neutral. Get my gloves on. Well, that's cool. Of course, it probably looks stupid on the tiny camera. Let me get a picture of that. Paste that in there later. That's where Ned lives, by the way. Down there in that valley. Kind of behind that big tree sticking up there in the middle. He lives down there. Pretty nice town. I don't live there because it's a town. There's people, and there's people. There's not me. Alright. I'm sorry, the sun might be in our face here for a little bit, but it looks like it's about to go behind some clouds. Look at that, see? No traction. I got good tires, it's just got way too much torque for the surface. But the alternative, the way it was before, it would just bog. That wasn't any good. So by the way, I really don't got much else to say, but Ned says that if you do a moto vlog and you don't actually ride on dirt, they kind of suck. So I was told I need to ride on dirt every time I do a moto vlog, and if I don't ride on dirt, then I at least need to ride a little pavement. but I can't just talk and not ride a motorcycle. Otherwise, it's not a moto vlog. It's just a vlog. And vlogs are probably stupider than moto vlogs. Well, there's a highway there. That reminds me. The 250R on the highway, not so bad. I mean, it's as good as it can get considering it's a dual sport. This thing on the highway just feels stupid. I mean, that's all I can think when I'm riding this down the interstate is, my God, this is stupid. Stupid, 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 stupid. Anyways, another thing. This is a whole lot better when you're off the seat. It just rides better when you're off the seat. It's made for you to be off the seat, both because it's much more comfortable when you're standing up, and because the seat itself basically feels like a 2x4 with nails in it. You've been on it for more than 40 minutes. The 250R, you know, it's not like a seat like on a cruiser, but it's a lot more comfortable than this. I mean, it's a good seat. It's a better seat than the WR450F, better seat than any of the KTMs I've ever been on. This seat, you know, it's in there, in that range. It's just not made to be sat on for a long time. Oh, nice view up here. I'm going to stop and look at this nice view. There we go. Turn this off for a second. Grab a picture of that before the sun comes back out of that cloud and messes it up. That's where I live, back down in there somewhere. It's a little bit remote. That's how I like it. And see that? There was about a quarter to a third throttle. That's about as much as I can put on it. Feels like it's gonna bring the wheel up after that. 250R, I cannot power wheelie it at this altitude. You know, some other observations about the 450F as a dual sport. I took the 13 tooth sprocket off on the front and put on a 14 tooth, and it definitely felt like better gearing for the road. It made it, I would say marginally better. I'd say a little bit more than marginally better. But then it was terrible off-road. So I put the 13 back on, and that's definitely where it needs to be for off-road. So you're gonna have to figure it out which one you want. Whether you're gonna be doing more off-road or more on-road, which one's more important to you. I think one thing that kind of happened with this 450F experiment is it's a matter of Ned just kind of not knowing himself. And you know, I'm guilty of it too, because I was right there with him the whole time going, yeah, you should do this, you should do that, putting the bug in his ear. And I was wrong. It's the kind of thing where I think everybody who buys a motorcycle probably does this at least once or twice. You just don't understand what kind of riding you're going to be doing or you want to be doing. And I'm sure there's lots of guys who buy big heavy bikes like KLRs and KLXs and 650s and realize all they really want to do is play around on the trails, and they got the wrong bike. And then there's guys who probably think that they're gonna need to go on long or they're gonna need to be doing some hardcore off-road stuff, and they buy bikes like this, which is almost ready to race off-road. And if you're not actually skilled enough to race off-road, you just don't need this kind of a bike. You'd be better off with something a little bit more mild, or something a little bit more 50-50 street dirt, like the WR450F, the DRZ400, maybe a KLX 250S, or the new Honda CRF 250L. Those are all much better bikes for the road than this thing. And you know, it kind of depends on how much off-road you really care about. as to whether or not you'd be better off with this or one of them. So I think Ned and myself probably thinking, hey, basically all we want is a WR450F with a bigger motor. And I thought this would be that, but it's just not. They got no parts in common. This thing's stiffer, more rigid, and more twitchy on the road. And the 250R, man, it feels pretty agile and pretty light when you're riding it. I mean, it's probably 30 or 40 pounds heavier than this, but you don't feel like it. The only time it's really noticed is when you come off of it and you got to pick it back up. It's definitely heavier than this thing to pick back up. And when you're putting it in the back of the truck and pushing up the ramp. And, you know, you'll notice it. But I don't know if you should make a purchasing decision based on what it's like to pick your bike off the ground. Ah, crap. There's no way this light's gonna change for this itty bitty piece of aluminum. Oh man. See y'all later. Have a nice day. I'll just wait for it to turn for me next. Yep. Nope. No, guess I don't get to go this time. Nope. Maybe next time it'll turn for me. Yay, somebody's... Oh no, they're turning right. Oh, man. I don't want to turn on the right. It's a highway. Getting on the highway on this thing is stupid. I go that way, I go in a nice little neighborhood all the way back to Ned's place. Bye, see y'all later. I'm sure next one's my turn. Alright, here we go. Here we go, it's gonna turn for me now. Oh, no, never mind, I guess it's not my turn. Oh hell, this is stupid.